Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and I was always told I had a voice for radio. So today, I am bringing you a game from the Athena Games City Championships in Norwich in the UK. Now, this is happening in the standard format. So we are going from the X and Y set all the way through till breakthrough. Breakpoint is not legal yet, but you can rest assured that when it is, tournament games on this channel will be very, very quickly coming along. Don't you worry your pretty little heads about it. Now, we are in 15 minutes, we are in best of 3, and I should say thank you very much to the lovely people at Athena Games in Norwich, definitely one of my favourite places in the UK to play. So sit back, grab yourself a nice beverage, and enjoy this game from the Norwich City Championships. Best of 3, 50 minutes, X and Y to breakthrough. And we are straight into our top 4 match. We obviously have, I think the guys might have put it on just a tad bit late, but they put it on and I love them for it and I ain't going to complain. So here we've got Ollie Barnett on the left playing Yveltal, Zoroark, Gallade, and Luke Kirkham on the right playing Mega Mewtwo. We saw Luke in his top 8 game. And Ollie, it looks like he's got a floatstone on his active Yveltal EX. He played a battle compressor to get rid of a Maxie's, an energy, and I want to say a Gallade, but I didn't quite catch that last card. And he gets a Sycamore straight away. So not a terrible start here. We'll see what he gets from that Sycamore. He gets a Zoroark and a baby Yveltal down, and another baby Yveltal. This isn't too bad at all. And he retreats and gets that baby Yveltal into the active. But of course it's his first turn, the first turn of the game, and the player that goes first is not able to play to attack at the end of their turn. Now Luke is going to mirror Ollie here. He's actually going to get a turn 1 battle compressor as well, and he's going to get rid of that psychic energy and an AZ and presumably another supporter, maybe a Sycamore if he doesn't have it in hand, or I don't know, something like a Zoroark if he does have a Sycamore. Now, as always, again, Luke's deck does play for the discard a little bit. He plays those Mega Turbo, and there we go with the Sycamore. He plays those Mega Turbo trainer cards that allow you to discard a basic energy from your discard to a Mega Pokemon. Hence the Psychic in the discard now. And like every deck, he's playing 4 VS Seeker, which allow you to grab a supporter from your discard pile and put it into your hand. So, of course, like a lot of people do nowadays, you will play something like a battle compressor to get the supporter in the discard so that you can then reuse it using battle compressor. Not the worst idea ever, quite frankly, ladies and gentlemen. Not the worst idea ever at all. So we see, it looks like you've got a town map from that Trainer's Mail. Trainer's Mail, of course, lets you look at the top 4 cards of your deck and choose any trainer card in there. And he chose to take town map, which lets him put his prizes face up. Unfortunately, we only get to see half his prizes. And we see another Trainer's Mail here. Clearly looking for some kind of supporter, maybe a VS Seeker. It may well be that he put that Sycamore into the discard with Battle Compressor, knowing that he had 2 Trainer's Mail, and hoping that he would hit a VS Seeker from those 2 Trainer's Mail. As it's worked out, he hasn't hit that. He's hit a Sycamore itself, and that means somewhat annoyingly, he's wasted that Sycamore. He's discarded a Sycamore that he didn't have to. Now you see here he is playing that Battle Compressor to dump 3 supporters so that he can reuse them with VS Seeker. We see a Lysander, a Zoroark, and a Hex Maniac. I'm sure at this stage he's kind of wishing he hadn't. We see a Shrine of Memories coming down there. Probably wishing he hadn't got rid of a Sycamore with that Battle Compressor first of all. But it was absolutely the correct play to make. He had to be sure that he could get it. He had to be sure that he was going to be able to have a supporter. Now we see a second Shaman go down there. And there's actually a really good play coming from Luke here. He's got a double colourless on that active Shaman. That means he's going to be able to use the Sky Return attack to do 30 damage. But the most he could do with a Mewtwo on this turn would be to use, I think it's called Scatter Shot on the basic, or the Mega, the non-Mega, for 30 damage. And there is that Sycamore. Got to get rid of a Mega Mewtwo, which isn't ideal. So if he's only doing 30 damage anyway, he might as well do 30 damage with that Shaman. That will then get the Shaman off his side of the field, and he can put something else active to stop Ollie getting a cheeky KO, although the lack of an energy drop last turn will hurt him. Ideally there, he would have wanted to get a basic Dark onto the Yveltal so that he could Y-Cyclone this turn, doing 90 damage and putting an energy from Yveltal onto one of your bench Pokemon, but it's all a moot point. Now, Ollie does have a Zoroark in hand, so he's going to be able to evolve that Zoroark, and we see a VS Seeker coming down just for a Sycamore, as we would expect. And now he gets the Gallade in the discard pile. It is, as I've said on my podcast, PTCGRadio, and on my videos a number of times, in Standard at the moment, it's actually pretty difficult to get that Gallade working. We see another Battle Compressor down, and he's just going to thin his deck at this stage. Zoroark so he can reuse it with VS Seeker. Battle Compressor because he's had enough Battle Compressors. Okay, cool. I don't know what he's showing Luke there, but generally showing your deck to your opponent is not a clever move. It gives them information that they can use against you later on. And he's going to get rid of an Ultra Ball because he's got his Pokemon out. Now, we talked about Luke's Mega Mewtwo deck in the top 8 game. And, of course, we talked about Scott Simmons' Mega Mewtwo deck in round 2 against myself. Incidentally, okay, and he's using an Ultra Ball here as well. Okay, that was slightly confusing there. And remember that that Shrine of Memories allows Mega Mewtwo to use that damage change attack to basically swap the damage on each Pokemon. So what Ollie wants to do, and he's doing it quite nicely here, he wants to poke the Mewtwo. Poke it for 50. Now, assuming Luke Mega Evolves this turn, and we know he's got a Spirit Link, because when he used Sky Return on that Shaman, he put a Spirit Link back into his hand. And we know he's got a DCE as well. Although, and that would get the KO. So Luke here can use a DCE to get the KO on the Yveltal. He'll be doing 100 damage, put him up to 130. So not only did that Shaman play, get the Shaman off the field into his hand, it actually did just the right amount of damage. And here we go. He is going to get the KO with this. So now all he's going to want to try and do 160 damage. He doesn't want to do much less than 160 damage because, of course, Mewtwo can damage change. And if Mewtwo can get the KO with damage change while going ahead and healing, that's big. Now, this could come back to bite Luke here. No, he should be okay. He should be okay with this. Ollie, for his part, he made a bit of a misplay here by putting the energy onto the Yveltal. So, here's the way the math is going to work. Ollie needs to do 160. Now, next turn, it could well be that all his breaks are prized, and that's what he was showing Luke, which was silly. If he had a break this turn, and he had 2 Dark Energy on the break, he'd be able to use Psychic Infinity for a total of 160 damage. Remember, Zoroark break copies any attack on your opponent's active Pokemon. So Ollie would copy Mewtwo's Psychic Infinity, and with 2 energy on the Zoroark, 3 on the Mewtwo, it would do 160 and get the KO. Of course, Ollie would need to break, and it doesn't look like, I know he plays the break, it doesn't look like he's got any in his deck at this time. The problem is, if he goes and uses Yveltal EX, he's going to be hitting for 100 damage, putting Mewtwo on 150, so Mewtwo can just damage change and get rid of all of it. So, to be honest, the better play... the better play here might be to go Baby Yveltal and try and do another 30 or 50, but of course that doesn't really help, because all you do then is just... put Mewtwo in a situation where, they can damage change or even just Psychic Infinity to KO the Yveltal. And let's say, for argument, Ollie, okay, yeah. Oh, and we see a judge here from Ollie. That's interesting. Not a bad little play. I mean, if he were to use Y-Cyclone here, he'd put the Mega Mewtwo on 140, which means Luke could then use a Lysander on an Yveltal or Zoroark, and then use damage change to heal the Mewtwo and get a KO. And this is the real problem. We saw this in Luke's top 8 game, and we saw it with my game against Scott in round 2, although I'm the first, I was in that video, the first to admit I did not play it terribly well. It's really awkward with this Mega Mewtwo deck. You've got to try and get these big KOs, and like we see here, Ollie's poking away. Now, I suggested doing this, and then I suggested maybe it wasn't the best play. I don't know what he could do instead, but let's think about it, ladies and gentlemen. Luke's got the KO here. He's doing 130 with the 4 energy. So, Luke's now going to go 2 prizes up. So, even if, and it's a big if, Ollie is able to get the KO here, Luke still will be even on prizes going into his turn, giving him the advantage. Now, Ollie will need to do 130 this coming turn, and that's going to be difficult. I mean, if he had the break, he could do it. Now, if Luke benches another bench Pokemon, he can do it. Because Zoroark, not unlike Psychic Infinity in fact, does 30 damage times the number of your opponent's bench Pokemon plus 10, which is currently doing 100, which isn't enough. Even a Muscle Band will go up to 120, which won't be enough. Yveltal can only do 90 with Y-Cyclone, I suppose if he piled energy. But of course, Luke's just got the Lysander and KO'd that Yveltal. And we are a couple minutes... We're not far into this video, ladies and gentlemen. We're not far into this game. And I don't see any way back for Ollie here. Luke is 3 prizes up. He's got a Mega Mewtwo, which is going to be one-hit KOing pretty much anything. He's got another one ready to go on the bench. Oh, Ollie did have a Zoroark in deck. Oh, in that case, there was, I think, a slight, and I might have the maths wrong, feel free to correct me in the comments, but I'm fairly sure a minute ago, when Luke had free energy on the Mewtwo, had Ollie done Oblivion Wing and attached the energy to, and we see a Sycamore for 7, but I think Ollie's just made another big mistake here. Had he done Oblivion Wing and put the energy on Zoroark, he then would have been able to... Now, I think Ollie is going to be trying to copy Psychic Infinity here, and he can't. Foul play is for a dark energy, not a double... And Luke's pointing it out. Foul play is for a dark energy. Ollie's put a double colorless, which means the only attack he can do is the attack that does 100. And no prizes for what Luke's going to do next turn. Luke's going to put a Psychic Energy on, damage change KO. Ollie knows, and he is packing up. So a huge misplay there from Ollie. Sorry, Ollie, if you're watching this. I don't mean to be mean. Although I will give Ollie credit. He came to me right after this game and he said, Ross, you are going to see a terrible misplay from me in game 1. I'm sorry. Don't know why he's apologising to me. I don't care. I'm sorry, Ollie, for having to point it out. But I'm sure there was a turn earlier there, and I did point this out. Had Ollie used Oblivion Wing and attached an energy to the bench Zoroark, he then could have attached a second Dark Energy, or indeed a double colourless, because you need a Dark Energy to do Foul Play to copy Psychic Infinity. Ollie would have been able to use Foul Play by virtue of the Dark on what would then be Mega Zoroark Break, and then by attaching a dark or a double colourless, he could have copied Psychic Infinity for the KO. So now there is an argument that if Ollie had done that, Luke would not have attached the extra energy because he had the KO without doing so. But I think Ollie could have attached a DC and done it anyway. So I think Ollie had the wrong Oblivion Wing target at one point, and he did actually give a KO, and you saw that Mega Mewtwo never went down. Now, had that Mega Mewtwo gone down from a Zoroark break, there's every chance Luke just would have come up and brought a second Mega Mewtwo and won anyway. But aside from that big misplay at the end, attaching an energy thinking you could get the KO, but actually having the wrong energy, I believe there was a misplay when he could have used Oblivion Wing to attach a different energy to the bench Zoroark. But hey-ho, these things happen. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, through the wonders of modern technology, I've just taken a quick break and gone back and looked. About 8 minutes in, there was a situation where Ollie had Oblivion Winged onto an Yveltal EX. Had he Oblivion Winged onto Zoroark, then going ahead and getting a break and any energy would have got the KO. Mewtwo had 3 energy attached and 160 HP remaining, which means if Zoroark had 2 energy, one of which was a dark, he would have been able to use Foul Play to copy Psychic Infinity and get the KO. The caveat to that, of course, is that on that turn, Luke did use a Lysander to drag up and kill an Yveltal EX, so it may well be that had Ollie gone for that particular play, Luke would have just Lysandered and killed the Zoroark anyway. So I think that was a better play. I may well be wrong, and Luke could well have just killed that instead. Maybe he killed the Yveltal because it had the energy on. He was trying to get rid of the threat. But Ollie gets to go first in game 2. Let's stop talking about misplays and start talking about game 2. So Ollie goes for a Trainer's Mail and gets a Float Stone, and then in a slightly ungrateful manner, I'm joking of course, he Ultra Balls that Float Stone and a Giovanni. Now presumably going to go for a baby Yveltal here, but maybe a Zoroark. Ollie, this is not a great matchup for him. What he needs to do, his real route to winning here, is to poke away with baby Yveltal and then use Zoroark Break to copy Psychic Infinity and get the KO. Yveltal EX needs way too much energy to go and get a KO on the Mewtwo. Yveltal's doing 20, plus 20 for each energy attached to each. Mewtwo's doing 10 plus 30 damage attached to each. Oh yeah, and it has 40 more HP before you even get going. Oh, and it looks like Ollie's having to use a VS Seeker to copy Giovanni's scheme. Remember, it allows you to either draw until you've got 5 cards in hand, not unlike Octillery's ability, or do 20 more damage, not unlike Muscle Band. Not ideal here, but if it's your only play, and he's got a Shaman and he's got an Ultra Ball. Happy, content to just pass. Oh, Luke gets a Town Map straight away. Gets to put his prizes face up. Now, Ollie's kind of got what he wants there. He's got the Zoroark, he's got the Yveltal. So as I was saying, using Zoroark Breaks Foul Play to copy a Psychic Infinity is really the best counter here. Here's the problem. Zoroark's basically a stage 3. And I don't believe Ollie plays Wally here, although I could be mistaken. Luke there using Shaman's setup for draw until he's got 6 cards in his hand, and then down comes a Battle Compressor, not unlike what we saw in the previous game. So I was just about to say we would expect a Psychic Energy there for Mega Turbo, and we'd expect some tech supporters. Maybe Wandy only plays 1 or 2. So a Lysander, and we could see a Hex here, or another one, maybe a Zoroark or something along those lines. Oh, an AZ. Still one of the tech supporters, so totally giving myself that one. So here, Ollie needs to get his Zoroark breaks going, and my inkling is it's going to be too slow. I think this is a very good matchup for Mewtwo. Now, it didn't also... Oh, we see a Hex Maniac coming down here. So maybe Ollie should have played that Shaman last turn, because he's not going to be able to play it this turn. That's a good turn from Luke. He's got that Mewtwo. He's got an energy attached. He's got a Spirit Link. So what more does he really need? I mean, maybe a second Mewtwo and a second Spirit Link, but he's doing all right here. Now, Ollie does get the Zoroark, but Luke knows that Zoroark is going to want to use his ability that allows him to jump into the active like Keldeo EX, but he can't do that because he is ability locked. There goes the DCE, and he's just having to pass the turn. Had he had a Dark Energy there, he could have done Y-Cyclone for 90, but he didn't have a Dark Energy. Heck, he even could have used Evil Bull to do 100. Sorry, it would have done 80. I'm lying to you. No, it would have done 100 because it would have had a Dark Energy. Oh, and there's Psychic Infinity for 160, and that will be the KO. And this is... Oh, and a Sycamore just for good measure. And this is just the strength of this Mega Mewtwo deck. The fact that here, if they're hitting you, you can damage change using Shrine of Memories, 2 Psychic and a Colorless. And if they're not hitting you, you can use Psychic Infinity, which I mean, he's got 3 energy there, and the Yveltal's got 2. You're doing 160 damage. And after the 30 damage scatter shot on turn 1, that is the KO. Now, it's not the end of the world. Oh, yes it is. Yeah, see, Ollie's going to need a Dark Energy and a Muscle Band and a Zoroark Break to return the KO here. Because if he just gets a Dark Energy, that's 6 energy total, which is 180. Add the 10 base is 190, and that's not enough. So Ollie is only going to get the KO here if he's got a Dark Energy and a Zoroark Break and a Muscle Band. Now, the good news for Ollie is that Luke hasn't used the Hex Maniac this turn, and we know Ollie's got a Shaman in his hand that he can use to draw more cards. Of course, the liability of Shaman is, let's say for argument's sake, and there is the KO on the Yveltal EX, it's enough, Ollie, it's enough. Let's say for argument's sake you have got, let's say you do 120 to Mewtwo. You can't KO my Yveltal or my Yveltal EX or my Zoroark Break. Yeah, but I can just go ahead and Lysander a Shaman and damage change to KO the Shaman. Oh, he's got the break and he's got a Shaman for 6 before playing any kind of supporter. There is a chance here, and Luke doesn't have any energy on that Mewtwo. Although he would get the KO anyway, actually, because 3 energy on the Zoroark Break plus a DCE on the Mega Mewtwo would do a total of 160. So even with Zoroark Psychic Resistance, that would do 140 and get the KO. Sorry, Zoroark Break, it ain't yo day, boy. It ain't yo day. So, yeah. And this is the real problem here. Does Ollie... Oh, he's got it. He's got everything. I looked away for 1 second, and so I'm trying to get my own Zoroark Break. Just double check that he has got Psychic Resistance and 140, which he does. I mean, Ollie... He needs another Zoroark at this point. He should have had a second Zoroark down 2 turns ago. He certainly needs one now. Although even if he gets it out, it's going to be a turn late. And here's the problem. Ollie here, he's got the KO on the Mewtwo. He's going to go even on prizes, but he has nothing else. All Luke needs is a Mega Mewtwo and a DCE. They will have 5 energy between them, that's 150, plus the 10 base is 160, minus the 20 Psychic Resistance is 140, which is a 1-hit KO. So you see here, Ollie's basically got a stage 2 with 3 energy and a Muscle Band to get the KO, and Luke needs a stage 1 with a double colourless. And that is a big difference. There's the Mega. Does he have the DCE? Remember, he doesn't need the DCE if he's got a basic energy in hand because he's got that Mega Turbo, allowing him to discard an energy from his discard to his Mega Mewtwo. Now, he was judged last turn, so does he have another energy? Oh, he's got a Shaman, allows him to draw some cards. Any energy will do here. There's a Trainer's Mail. I believe he's got a Psychic in his discard, so even a Mega Turbo would be enough here. If he's got a Mega Turbo, I believe that would get him the requisite energy. Is he going to have it? Certainly for his own sake, I assume he is hoping so. So, this is what it's going to come down to. Now, if Luke can't get the second energy here, that kind of opens it up for Ollie a little bit. Yeah, now we'd need another DCE, but if Luke doesn't have the KO here, then Ollie could put a second DCE down. There would then be 6 energy total, which is 180, plus the 10 base is 190, plus the Muscle Band is 210. Oh, and he's using VS Seeker for Sycamore. Luke has seen what we've seen, I'm assuming. He needs an energy. I don't know if he got it. Now, if he got a Mega Turbo, again, I'm fairly sure, because I think he Battle Compressed a Psychic Energy early, and I think he had a Psychic Energy on the Mewtwo that got KO'd. So this is a big turn. Now, Ollie's still going to need the double colourless, but if Luke doesn't have the KO, he can still use Scatter Shot, although it would only do 10 damage, 30 times the amount of Psychic Energy attached to the Mewtwo, which is 1, which is 30. minus a resistance will go to 10, which is kind of irrelevant. And all he's got to... And he's just thinning out his deck here, trying to raise his odds. Does he have another Shaman? Because he needs something here. He needs an energy. And this is a huge turn in the game. This turn may well decide game 2. Because Luke here doesn't have the KO without another energy. If he gets an energy, he gets the KO, and there's no way Ollie's taking down that second Mega Mewtwo, not for a while anyway. Oh, and there's an Ultra Ball, presumably for a Shaman. And you saw Luke counting his hand, counting his deck. He's got it. This is going to win the game for Luke. Because you saw there very carefully, and Luke, you saw him counting his hand, you saw with the VS Seeker, with the Battle Compressor, he was really making sure he was guaranteed to get the win here, and Ollie really has no way back. He's going to get the energy from this, I would imagine anyway. I'd be very surprised if he didn't. Oh, straight away. It looks like he got 2 double colourless. Had he whiffed the energy, Ollie would have got the KO and probably gone on to win the game. As it is, Luke's going to KO that Zoroark, and there's no way Ollie's doing 210 this turn, which means Luke's getting another KO, and from there it's just a Lysander on that Shaman to win the game. And while he's doing that, we know he's got a DCE to attach to that bench Mewtwo, and that means he can just go ahead and win the game. Now, Ollie's in an awkward position here, because attaching that energy has just got Luke the KO. Free energy total plus the 10 base is 100 damage. By Ollie attaching that energy, it then goes up to 130. So Luke is getting the KO with this Mega Mewtwo. He's now going to be able to pop a DCE on the benched Mewtwo, getting that ready. And if by some miracle that, quite frankly, I don't see, Ollie is able to get a KO on that active Mega Mewtwo, Luke's going to have another one ready to go. So... not looking good here. I mean, no. See, even if Ollie were to say, use Yveltal to do 50 and attach an energy to the Yveltal EX on the bench, and then start trying to pick Shaman off Luke's bench, Luke can just KO the Yveltal EX with Psychic Infinity and get the win anyway. I don't see any way back for Ollie here. Looks like Luke is going to the final. I should at this stage say a huge thank you to Ollie and to Luke. They both agreed to be on stream. They are both lovely people, and they both have my gratitude for agreeing to be on stream. Thank you very much to all the lovely people at Athena Games in Norwich in the UK. Very quickly become one of my favourite places to play in the UK. It's a wonderful place, and I will be going back there as often as I am able to. It's a brilliant place to play. And they've got regionals coming up, actually. I want to say March the 19th. I shall certainly be there. Oh, and we see a Lysander to KO the Shaman here. I shall be there. It looks like a very nice place. Well, it doesn't look like it is a very, very nice place. Yeah, Ollie's doing 120 at the moment. With a double colourless, I think he can get the KO. Yeah, with a double colourless, he'll actually get the KO here with Evil Ball. Potentially a slight misstep on Luke's part. I don't think it matters. At this stage, I really don't think it does. And Ollie's going to get the Evil Ball, but then all Luke is going to need... Luke is literally just going to need, if I've worked this... Oh, did he have any energy? Oh, he's got one. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, so this will get the KO. However... Okay, maybe things are getting a bit interesting here. Because Luke has chosen to set up... Luke has chosen not to set up that last Mewtwo, so maybe it's going to take... Can Luke get the KO this turn? I mean, Mega Turbo, DCE, Lysander, Mega Mewtwo would get the win for Luke here. Let's see what he's got in his hand. See, even Mega Turbo DCE would give 5 energy total, which is 150, add the 10 is 160, which would not get the KO on that Yveltal. And with a Lysander and 1 energy, Ollie would be able here to Lysander a Shaman off Luke's bench and get the KO with Y Cyclone. So Ollie has gone and made this game interesting at the end. Honestly, if I was Luke, I would have gone ahead and just put the DCE on the bench Mewtwo. He could still have KO'd a Shaman or something like that, I believe. No, he wouldn't actually have had quite enough energy for that. But he still, you know, there were KOs on the board. In fact, he could have just KO'd the active Yveltal, to be perfectly honest, ladies and gentlemen. He could have, he could have KO'd the active Yveltal and had done with it and then just Lysandered for the KO this turn. Again, oh, double Mega Turbo! What a play. And as I always say in these videos, I did not see that coming. That was beautiful. That is why he didn't attach the DCE last turn. Now, I'm going to end this video, ladies and gentlemen, with the caveat I've given on many an occasion before. The players have a lot more information than we do. You saw on a prior turn where Luke had to get that energy. He played it beautifully. He used Battle Compressor to look through his deck and to thin out his deck. So I didn't realise he was going to draw 2 Battle Compressors from that Sycamore. Luke did realise he was going to get 2 Mega Turbo. I might say Battle Compressor, I meant Mega Turbo. Luke did know he was going to get 2 Mega Turbo from that Sycamore. And that's the real difference. So I was thinking, well, hang on a second. He's not going to get, he needs 4 energy to get the KO on Yveltal. How is he possibly going to get 4 energy on the Yveltal? Why didn't he attach the DCE to the benched Mewtwo? And the reason is, Luke's sitting there thinking, I'm going to totally Sycamore next turn, and I'm going to draw into a DCE double Mega Turbo, so I really don't care if he KOs this active Mewtwo. It makes no difference. There's no I won by so many prizes, I get extra rubbish. No, ladies and gentlemen. You take 6 prizes and you win. So Luke knew that by attaching the DCE to the active Mega Mewtwo, he was giving up the KO, but he's sitting there thinking, you know what? I don't care. I'm going to Sycamore next turn, and I'm going to get the win, because I'm going to hit Mega Mewtwo DCE double Mega Turbo. I love seeing things like that. That was a beautiful play by Luke. Well done to both players for making top 4. Sorry if I was a little harsh to Ollie about his misplays. Let's be very clear, ladies and gentlemen. Ollie was swimming upstream that game. It was not a good matchup for his deck by any stretch of the imagination. And I think he did about, especially in Game 2, he did about as well as he could have done under the circumstances. Luke made a very good deck choice for this particular tournament, and he really did just have the best deck going in. Now, there's going to be no final from this particular tournament. It would have been a Mewtwo mirror match with Luke and Scott Simmons in the final, but they chose to just go home instead. Luke needed the points more than Scott. Scott decided to scoop to Luke so that everybody could go home. The other top 4 match, I lost to Scott. Again, I was outclassed. It was a match I was never supposed to win. If you don't get to see that, but just look at round 2 and you'll basically see how the matchup goes. So thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. This is the last video from Norwich Regionals, but don't worry your pretty little heads about it. I am hopefully recording some videos at Truro City, St Austell's, I should say. St Austell Cities this weekend with Breakpoint Legal. There is a Greninja video coming and more top 10s from old sets, ladies and gentlemen. I am going to aim not to let you down, but I've spoken enough on this video. Thank you very much for watching. Look after yourselves till next time. My name is Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.